I use my nuts in my yogurt pretty frequently. Like that's almost an everyday thing for me. I really appreciate that. And then obviously anyone who knows me knows that I have a serious weakness for peanut butter. And I will absolutely work the rest of my day calories around having the right amount of peanut butter if that's what I want. You know, again, there's another strategy, right? If you know that there's something that you want and that you like, and it's just like, it just makes me happy. For me to eat peanut butter makes me feel good. All the other things go away for that. Like I will adjust the rest of my day's caloric intake around being able to have a big fat peanut butter sandwich.
Fucking A. How about that? But hold up. Seriously, on all seriousness, you put your nuts in yogurt?
Absolutely.
Thank you to everybody who has subscribed recently. Don't think that we don't notice. We love the views, we love the comments, we love all of the new subscribers, and we love seeing that this show is growing. If you like this show, the best thing you can do to support it is hit that subscribe button, and if you want to take it one step further, please share any and all episodes. Thank you. Let's get on to the show. Welcome to Bear It All, the Kintsugi Chronicles, here on the I Am Not Okay channel, where we gather our broken pieces in search of gold. My name is John Bear, and today I am joined by Mr. Jeremy Palmer.
Here we go again.
How you doing, brother?
Doing well.
Wonderful. Today we're going to chop it up about fats.
That's a touchy subject.
Not being fat.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Or I don't want to shame anybody. If you feel fat, I'm sorry that you feel fat, and that's something that maybe after watching this podcast, we can steer you in a direction that allows you to feel less fat, and that would be amazing. I know I used to feel fat, and I didn't like it, so we're going to work on that.
Me too.
A couple former recovering fat kids here, and this is the best way to start off the Fat Podcast. So, actually, what I'm going to do today, Jeremy, I would love for you, if you're open to it, to let everybody know, like, what is fat in the sense of eating and consuming fats? What's your definition?
It went right to the fat whore thing.
Fat whores? What?
There we are.
Nobody is saying you're a fat whore. Nobody. None.
So, great question, John. And yes, of course, I will definitely take that. So, fats. Fats are, for us, they are the third macronutrient in the trinity of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. It is a macronutrient that is essential for energy, self-function, and absorption of vitamins. There are a couple different kinds of fats: saturated fat, unsaturated fat, and a relatively new one called trans fat. That is a very popular one these days. So we'll break down all of those for everyone. Talk a little bit about why they're important, and talk about some of the sources that we can get them from and when to consume them.
Awesome. Do you have a breakdown of unsaturated and saturated? I
Yes.
do. Okay, great. What's an
Go.
unsaturated? Oh, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I'll start it. Unsaturated fats, as I've come to learn, improve our heart health, and they're along the lines of avocado, nuts, and olive oil. So things that would be more grown in nature from there. Saturated fats, yes, we can eat them. We'll say should, in quotes, be eaten closer to moderation and are found more in things like butter, dairy, red meats, which, again, we kind of talked about and prefaced this in the protein podcast, that if for some reason dairy and red meat, which we didn't say you should have, we said those are also sources of protein or fats and even carbohydrates in the in dairy. So And then trans fats, which sort of is this like Franken fat. A lot of people kind of like a Franken food.
Yeah.
Trans fats are chemically altered plant oils, usually listed on a package as something like a partially
yeah.
hydrogenated oil.
Yes.
And so if you're reading the ingredients and there's some kind of oil that you don't know, I'm not going to list them all off.
There's a bunch.
I'm going to share with you a few oils that I would use. So if it's not one of those oils, I personally wouldn't eat it. Doesn't mean you can't. It just means you should know what it does to you. And most likely it's probably a trans fat that's been altered chemically at some level and not for your benefit.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No.
No. Okay, great. So what we have now, I'm going to go through sort of quote unquote our best sources, and then if I miss anything, please add. Okay.
Go for it.
So I have the oils would be extra virgin olive oil, virgin or even extra virgin coconut oil, and avocado oil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also just eating avocados. Wonderful. Nuts. Walnuts in particular, very, very good.
One of
the
my
other
favorites.
one's not bad, but walnuts are amazing. And to be quite honest, fatty fish, another great
Right.
one. So you have like the salmon, especially mackerel, perfect. Those are the sources personally that I would consume the most of. Did I miss anything or anything you'd add there?
There are some seeds also,
Good call.
sunflower seeds, things like that.
Chia
that
seeds.
Are chia seeds, things like that that are also, chia specifically is packed with some great unsaturated fat and a bunch of other things that are beneficial to you as well as proteins and stuff like that.
Yep.
That would be my only thing that I would add there.
No, that's perfect, actually. Yeah, because I put chia seeds in my protein powder every morning, and it's a nice little boost of fat there.
Yep.
So vegans or those who are eating non-animal products will say, I would encourage you to stay away from the dairy products and the red meat. I don't know I don't know what the term is for if you eat fish. What is that?
That is pescatarian.
Pescatarian. If you're a pescatarian, then that's on the table for you. Wonderful. I don't know if eggs, that's ovo.
That would be an ovo, yes.
Yeah, we talked about that the one time, ovo. So depending on where you are in the scope, let's make sure we're picking fats that improve your performance and also that you're confident and comfortable eating, okay?
Definitely.
So then one of the questions is always, how much fat should I be eating? To which we would ask,
What you doing?
yes.
What are your
you
goals?
doing?
What are you trying to
goals?
accomplish?
So what I did, like I did with the carbohydrate podcast, I kind of gave like an overview of how I view fats and how I view carbohydrates and how I would sort of incorporate them. I'm going to do a similar thing here, and then please, if you would share your overview and if I miss anything. So let's start here. Something that we touched on in the protein podcast, and I wanted to leave it until I got to the fat podcast, the difference in calories per gram of macronutrient.
Yeah.
So 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. Why is that important? Because 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, meaning... So what does that mean? It literally means you could have 1 gram of protein and 1 gram of carbohydrates and get less calories than eating 1 gram of fats. That doesn't mean that they're bad and that we shouldn't eat them. It means most of us underestimate how much fats we are actually eating, especially because most of us don't realize they're worth twice as much calorically to our system.
That was a huge issue in my diet for quite some time.
How so?
I ate fats in disguise a lot. Like not in disguise. That's a bad way of looking at it. I was just eating healthier but I was consuming a ton of fat. I was eating a lot of nuts. I was eating a lot of peanut butter. I was eating a lot of butter. I was eating a lot of cheese. And at the same time, I wasn't eating a lot of other junk food, but like all my cheese was the kind that comes in a block that I was cutting for myself, and the butter was the highest quality butter, and I was having cream in my coffee occasionally as opposed to just half and half or milk, and all of those things added up to I came to a point where I was doing all the things that we talk about all the time, but I was still in a place of like, man, I'm still feeling a little puffy here. Like, what's going on? And, it really came down to turning that dial back a little bit and being like, okay, you can have yogurt, but, on occasion, more times than not, like the fat-free yogurt is going to be the way to go. I was eating full fat yogurt on a regular basis. Getting those levels of protein, I was getting that. Like that was happening. I was eating, those things, but still remaining puffy. And a lot of that changed when I began to dial back those numbers a little bit, like take the fat down. And just very much consider not eating per se low-fat items, just cutting certain things out of the diet when I didn't need it.
When you felt, so Jeremy says you felt puffy.
Yeah.
When you became aware that you thought you were eating really healthy foods, which it sounds like you were, and I know you, so I know you were having very high quality, highly sourced foods,
right,
and yet we're still overweight. What was the aha when you, like you said, you started to dial it back, but what did you actually do? Like, how did you realize you were overeating fats?
Well, John, that's a great question. My coach helped me understand that.
What? That's crazy talk. You listen to your coach?
Well, sometimes. My coach had me do a kind of a deep dive on what I was doing and asked me some very pointed questions and said it real matter-of-factly to me like, well, I think probably dial back your fat and you're going to be right about it. Sounds like you have everything going except for the fat. And I was like, oh, okay. That was pretty much it.
Got it. So were you tracking it at that point, or was this more like tracking it in your head? You knew what you were eating.
I was tracking it in my head. At this point, I understand the quantities based on just when I look at them. As you know, once you're down the road of this a little while, you understand it a lot better than someone who's like, I just don't know what I'm looking at. Like, we do it every day. We tell other people to do it. We teach other people to do it. I was doing mental math of that and not tracking it as well as I should have. And as soon as I did the real math, I realized, I was well over my intake of fat for wanting to get where I wanted to go.
Interesting. So did you hear that, guys? He said that he thought he was eating healthy and really was, and yet still hadn't quite kind of reached the goal that he was looking for. And it wasn't until he brought that out into the light, shared it with his coach, and his coach said, hey, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. Maybe look at your fat intake and dial that in a little bit more poignantly, that you became aware that you were overeating them. And what has happened since you've started to turn the dial?
I am lighter in weight than I've been in 30 years.
I hope you heard that. Let me say that again. He is lighter in weight than he has been in 30 years.
Maybe longer.
Quite interesting.
At least 30.
I'm just going to let that have some space.
Let that sit out there for just a minute.
And while we move on here, so then it becomes, okay, how much fat should I eat? So let me give you my overview of kind of how I kind of look at fats and view them. Fats are, I would not call them the least important macronutrient. I would call them the macronutrient that we want to eat the least of, while also making sure that we're eating enough fat, good quality, healthy fats that support our heart and brain health, and then also like the base structure of our nails and our eyes and our hair that also assist protein there.
Hormone function.
And, oh yeah,
Ladies.
ladies in particular, but also, hey bros, testosterone
Hormone function.
and the things.
Yeah.
Our hormones need fat
Brains.
to work together.
Yeah. We need all that stuff.
So then it comes down to, again, how much do I eat? What kind do I eat? Here's what I can tell you. I personally do my best to stay away from trans fat. I don't really love like candy type things and cakey, especially packaged type stuff. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. It did as a kid. Yeah, absolutely. I was the McDonald's kid. I was the eat a whole box of cereal kid, eat a whole pizza kid.
Entenmann's cookies.
All the things, man, crush those things. Okay. And I was also 240 pounds at 13 years old. So there's something to think about there. So fat, personally, I love getting my fats from animal foods. So I do eat saturated fats. We'll say chicken, shrimp, and some red meat. I'll have red meat, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week. And for me, personally, I don't notice adverse effects where others might. So I have found it to be something that works for me. I'll also eat some fatty fish here and there for sure, put that in. And I love avocados. So when I have an opportunity, Jeremy, we were up at the woods like a month ago and you made this amazing avocado mash on top of those eggs. You want to talk about like a perfect fat meal? 3 or 4 free-range eggs with a organic avocado mashed up with a little lemon juice and salt and pepper and maybe a splash of cayenne and whatever else he put in there.
Don't need much.
That shit was money, right? So that's a way that I love to eat my fats. Now, here's what I will say. When we talk about eating carbohydrates around our meals, the opposite is true for fats.
Pause.
Around our training.
Yep.
You're right. Got me. When we talk about eating carbohydrates around our training sessions, pre and post, important to eat the carbohydrates then. Fats would probably be before that training meal and after that recovery meal where we could get the windows for things like that. So some people train first thing early in the morning. I would probably tell you not to eat fats. Maybe a splash of protein shake. If you need something in your stomach, go get your training, get some protein and carbs, and then like 2 hours later, start getting your fats in. That's as simply as I can make it, simply because when we ramp up our system and increase the demands physically, our body does not absorb fats quite as well. So, and because it's a source that hangs out longer in our body, right? We all have a little bit more fat on our body than we would like, most likely. Me, I have some. I'm working on the muscle too. It's something that can get pulled off and used as a fat source or energy source easier. And then when we're eating fats before the training meal and after the recovery meal, now our body has an opportunity to utilize those in the functions a la hormones, etc., that are the most beneficial for fats to be used for. So, do you have anything to add to that, sir? This podcast is sponsored by Bare Knuckle Strength. If you're ready and willing to start getting rid of and or release your pain, one of the best ways that we have found to start doing that is self-myofascial release. We have created a program here at Bare Knuckle Strength. You can get that right now for free by going to www.bareknucklestrength.com/release. www.bareknucklestrength.com/RELEASE RELEASE. Release. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.
I would say not much to add. My utilization of fat at this point is very similar to yours. I do eat red meat fairly regularly, at least 3 times a week. Chicken, turkey, lots of that kind of stuff. And I also do not see myself experiencing any real adverse effects. I will put my plug in for quality.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
The source, and off camera we were just talking about that. I'm a freak for source. I want sources to always be the best. So as far as that stuff goes, I'm generally always looking for the closest, localist, most grass-fed of any of those things that I can get, or I want to, as some people know, like I have some friends who raise food for me who live a little further away, but I know them. Like I want to know them. I want to know, like I've met the animals. I've fed some of the animals. Like I want that level of relationship with my food. So quality again, but as we said for all the other things, get the things first, then focus on the quality, like fit them into your diet first in the proper ratios, and then we work at the quality from there. But yeah, I guess my only other piece that I probably work at a little more frequently is that I use my nuts in my yogurt pretty frequently. Like that's almost an everyday thing for me. I really appreciate that. And then obviously anyone who knows me knows that I have a serious weakness for peanut butter. And I will absolutely work the rest of my day calories around having the right amount of peanut butter if that's what I want. That is so again, there's another strategy, right? If you know that there's something that you want and that you like, and it's just like, it just makes me happy. Like that, like for me to eat peanut butter makes me feel good. So all the other things go away for that. Like I will adjust the rest of my day's caloric intake around being able to have a big fat peanut butter sandwich, like, or something to that effect. So
fucking A. How about that? How about them apples?
Some more strategies, like.
But hold up. Seriously, on all seriousness, you put your nuts in yogurt?
Absolutely.
I thought your nuts were supposed to make yogurt come out. Boom. All right, stupid boy joke. All right, now on to the next thing. So, one thing is, how much should I eat of fats? Again, it comes back to
what you doing.
What are you doing? So if we want to lose weight or fat, right? We want to lose body fat. Yeah, hell yeah, we still need to eat some fats, of course.
Lots.
So Jeremy was saying, like he just said, he was talking about how important quality is. So what I'm going to say is, most of the other macronutrients, I said, let's just make sure we get enough. Yeah. This one I'm going to say the source is important because we're not able to eat as much of it, the source is most likely the most important, I believe, for fats. So if you're going to start looking at where am I getting the best stuff, start looking at your fat sources, because you eat them the least and you want them to last the longest and do what they're supposed to do for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show, I only have a few sources because, again, the best. I'm going to pull out my sources, and then Jeremy can add in a few of his, and then we'll fill in a few more things here. avocado oil, right? So I love
The good stuff.
avocados. Avocado oil, really great. Chicken, searing, making eggs. This is my go-to for stuff like that. And I get a little bit of that extra good fat in there as well. So then I'm fortunate enough that one of my students went to Greece and she brought me back some Greek olive oil. So talk about here in
Different ball game.
Greeks and Italians will fight over the source and where it came from, and let's do that in the comments. I'm not going to say this is the best. I have some Italian in me as well. I love olive oil, and I'm happy to taste it from all parts of the world to find the best. I have no doubt that this organic extra virgin olive oil straight from Greece, probably some of the best stuff that I can get. Super happy to have that. That's how I add in. And then the one some people have an issue with because it tastes weird, but it's up to you how you use it.
I love it.
Coconut oil. This thing, I really love coconut oil. I'll use it, especially in the pan. This is more my go-to pan oil if I'm making something more for myself. Jackie, I love you. I know you hate coconut oil. I love it. All right. Those are now notice it's only 3, and I don't have animal sources here. If I was going to say, what are the best fats and the ones I think you should have, it would be those 3 to start. Mm-hmm. There's other things, but start there and get most likely the bulk of what you eat throughout a day through high quality sources like that. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I don't have anything that I brought with me today, but my sources, again, would be some of the things that we discussed. I would add my peanut butter into there. I generally, when I say peanut butter, that doesn't mean that I go to Giant and grab a tub of Jif off of the shelf and eat that with a spoon out of the jar.
What? That's not peanut butter?
It is peanut product. A lot of that stuff has a lot of things mixed into it. Most of the time, if I'm eating a jarred peanut butter, like the Santa Cruz Organic is a really great one. Peanut Butter and Company is a really great one. But honestly, I eat the fresh ground peanut butter more frequently than not because there's nothing in it. It's just peanuts mashed into paste. So that is one of my go-tos. Also, I really like cheese. So I eat some cheese, and I generally will stick to there's a local cheese company that I really like that I get at the local co-op. I like that a lot. I slice it straight off the block. That's a really important piece of my diet because I just love that as well. And then there's usually some form of pastured butter on deck at my house. I still do cook with butter when I'm making eggs or things like that. Nothing has been able to replace the flavor and the way that the mouthfeel of all of that stuff. Like butter is just it's my go-to especially for eggs. Not a lot, but I generally will have something around. I like, if I can't get the local pastured, a good Kerrygold or any of those butters is an excellent style of butter. It doesn't have a lot of crap in it. Things that come from Europe, as we were discussing just a little while ago, tend to not have as many ingredients added to them. So those are pretty much my go-tos.
Yeah, and to be clear, I eat cheese, I eat butter as well. And this also goes back to so dairy products, right? If you're allergic or it's not best for you, temper that. However, yeah, butter, amazing. And I want to not ever have to feel as if I have to cut whole food groups or things out, and rather always comes back to how does this thing make me feel when I eat it? And am I fueling my energy or am I fueling my emotions?
Right.
And that's where I believe a lot of people get stuck I know a lot of people get stuck in when they're overeating, right? If you're telling me that I'm eating the right amounts of protein and I'm tracking and I'm doing everything right and I'm still a little puffy or whatever, yeah, well, then we probably have to dial in your carbs and fat numbers a little differently. Okay? It's very easy to overeat them. It's very challenging to eat enough of them. In today's world, I'll say, especially because most of us are probably sitting down and listening to things like this a little more than we are going for walks and doing stuff. Doesn't mean that we can't, or that maybe you are listening to this on a walk. Great, keep walking. And if you're sitting down and resting, not a problem. However, right, we have to look at, are we as a society moving less and eating more? I say the answer is pretty obvious, yes.
Look around.
Look around. A great way to frame that is look at a picture of people at the beach in 2024 and then go back to 1974, 50 years ago, and look at a picture of the people on the beach then. Just Google it. Tell me what you see, okay? All right. So I believe that has that's a great overview of fats. I believe we've done a solid job of laying out what they are, the ones that maybe we should avoid, the ones that might be the best quality sources and why, and how we both view them within the realm of our own personal experience while getting our performance levels to where we expect them to be.
Definitely.
Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Palmer?
No, I think we covered everything. I mean, we would bring it back home by saying that, for everyone, attempt to choose the healthiest unsaturated fats and get them into your diet as you can. We want to avoid the trans fat as much as possible. So hydrogenated oils, your body has no way of processing it. Like, the more you eat of it, the more there is just stuff inside your body that cannot be processed. It takes a really long time to break that stuff down. And if you're not counting the grams of fat that you eat and you are concerned about your body composition, or you want to lose fat, or you want to gain weight, or anything, like, you are doing yourself a disservice at the very least by not doing it for a short period of time and just understanding what it looks like. Understand what you need, because, like I said, I teach this stuff and I was still messing it up. So understand that it can happen to any of us at any time. We can easily slip away and eat way too much of it. And you don't realize it, and it just kind of happens, and you stack it up and you stack it up, and you're doing that. And we don't pay attention to it until it becomes a problem. But if you're feeling that you have body composition issues, or you want to lose weight, things like that, definitely take a look and make sure that fats are in the proper ratio for your diet. And if you have questions about that, leave them in the comments. If you're a member here, come see us. This is what we want you to talk about with us. These are the things that we're discussing here. Like, this is what will support this journey for you. So that's really all I have.
Cool. I'll leave you with a few things that, let's say you're out in the wild, you're out on the road. How can you get some good fats in if you don't carry a jar of olive oil around like I do?
You mean people don't do that?
I mean, that's weird to me if you don't. However, so I'm going to give you two sources, right? There's going to be an animal source. Like, let's say you go to a Wawa or a local convenience store, or just you're out and you need to grab something quick and you want good fats. If you're able and wanting to eat animal products, hard-boiled eggs, always the way to go right there. Then you have some companies are starting to make, and you want to make sure you understand, so like a pack of raw walnuts, right? So raw, RAW, meaning the only ingredient most likely is walnuts. There's not any of those partially hydrogenated oils to make it more walnutty.
That happens a lot.
Or like some kind of nut butter, which is more of a raw butter, that which the ingredient basically is the nut. Like Jeremy said, like he eats literally like just peanuts that have been mashed and ground. It's not a peanut product. It's not a peanut paste.
There's no sugar.
It's just peanuts. So again, something like that. Or you can go ahead. There are like, you could have this one company called Dang makes little coconut chips. You could get a bag of coconut chips. There's certain things like that. I mean, you want to go eat some olives? Sure, grab an olive thing.
Yes.
Definitely do that.
Yes, please.
Grab an avocado. Nobody's usually carrying a knife around to pit an avocado and use it, except maybe one guy I know. However,
Never leave home without it.
most likely there's an on-the-go option with avocados in it. So those are some of the best sources if you're out in the wild to go ahead and get the good fats that we can all use. Okay? So, anything else?
That sounds like it's covered.
Love you guys.
Thank
See you
you.
in the next one. Thank you for making it this far in our podcast. I am not okay, and that's why I created www.iamnotok.com. It's a space where we can go to be seen, to be heard, and to not be judged. Everybody needs that. Everybody wants that. Here is our opportunity to have that. If you are ready to have your story heard, please go to www.iamnotok.com/contact, CONTACT, and fill out our form to sit right here across from me as a guest on our podcast. And if you're not ready to be a guest and tell your story live, but you are ready to start telling the truth, even if just to yourself, then please grab our free Speaking Your Truth guide, www.iamnotok.com/truth. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.